Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another installment of the Pucking Around podcast, our 70th episode. We're climbing up there pretty quick, boys, huh? 70 episodes, about almost 2 years of this. Time flies, guys. Time flies. Got a good show for you tonight. We will not have Cam on. He's got some personal stuff he's got to take care of. He'll be back next week, though. Matt should or should not be here at some point. I think he will be, probably maybe about 20, 30 minutes into the pod episode. He already confirmed me with that, so hopefully he falls through. But in the meantime, we got three of us here already, starting with the man to my right, the seasoned veteran of the Pucking Around podcast, the producer, you know him, love him, Rick Seligman.
You pointed the wrong way.
Not me.
Yeah, you pointed the wrong way.
Wait a minute. My thing's going right on mine.
It's the opposite. You got to do the opposite.
Yeah, you got to go opposite.
Wait, so I have to point. The thing is, I'm pointing right, and on my screen, it is pointing at Rick.
Then your camera is set up the wrong way.
What in the world?
Yeah,
so I have to point at Eric on my camera for it to show as Rick on yours.
Yeah. Like,
That's
for me to
so
point
weird.
to you, I got to point to the wall. And you're not
wait,
the
what
opposite.
hand am I raising right
Pointing
now?
at you. That's just how it is. It's the opposite when you're.
What hand am I raising right now?
You should be raising your right hand.
That is correct. But then why did?
Because I know how to tell.
A brain aneurysm.
It looks like your left hand. It's on the left side, but it's not. You got to take in where you are and how the camera looks at it.
So I thought I was pointing to Rick, but apparently I have to point to Eric to make it.
It's like backing up with a trailer on the back.
Oh, don't give me that. I'm not backing up the trailer. That's going to go disaster.
Okay. But it's very much like that.
I used to drive these box trucks for this company called The Ride, which are like, they were almost 10 feet tall. I think it was like 9 feet, 8-inch clearance. And they didn't even have a backup camera. Imagine trying to drive one of those behemoths.
Yeah, I never used the backup camera my whole career, so.
I will say this. I don't need it for a regular sedan or an SUV. It's whatever. But if you're giving me a giant-ass box truck, I want a backup camera. F all of that.
That's what mirrors are for.
They're mirrors, but you can't also – you're judging how far something behind you is too. So
it's called experience.
I kind of clipped the side of a wall before with one of them. But that's besides the point.
It's called experience.
Anyway. Enough of my poor box truck.
Enough about his poor driving.
Enough of my poor box truck driving issues. Let us continue. The man to my right. The man to my left. My flyer than a flyer, a co-host. You know him, you love him, Mr. Eric Filibuster Martino.
It's the guy to his left. The guy to his left. Oh no.
That guy to my straight.
Yeah, exactly.
What's up, boys? What's up?
Oh man. That's it. No other big speech?
No, I'm good.
He's
laid back Canadian, man. Laid back Canadian. So what's up tonight? What are we talking about? Because so far, I don't think we're entertaining anybody. So what are we going to entertain them with?
I've been entertaining people with my box truck stories. Anyway, we are going to be going over, to start the show, the 2 conference finals series that have been going on so far. And I got to say, I've been too impressed so far.
It's not going to take long.
And I'll start with Carolina and Florida. And this series has been a bit of a snooze. Although I will say congratulations to the Carolina Hurricanes, who finally snapped their 15-game conference finals losing streak last night. It only took 16 tries, boys. You finally did it. With a 3-0 victory over the Florida Panthers to cut the series lead from 3 games to 1. And yet again, it was a game that, well, actually, you know what? I won't say this because this game at least was competitive. It was 1-0 until almost the very end until Carolina potted 2 empty netters. So that game was at least competitive. Pretty good.
Stepped away. And I didn't see. I had stepped away, and it was 1-0. I come back, and it's 3-0, and I didn't know how that happened. So thank you. I didn't realize.
Just 2 potted empty netters. No, you didn't miss too much. But overall, even despite last game, this series has felt like men against boys. Florida has absolutely grind down the Hurricanes top to bottom. They've absolutely overwhelm them. They're running 3 lines that are putting up an average, at least going into game 4. I don't know what it is adjusted now. It's probably going down a little bit. But going into game 4, I saw a statistic that the Florida Panthers' top 3 lines all were averaging 0.73 points a game or better. That's impressive. When you have 3 lines flowing with that level of octane, with the amount of physicality and wear and tear grind that you play with all those bodies, you have 4 lines that can beat the piss out of you. And mind you, Florida was missing Sam Reinhart, Mikkola, and I think the last one was who? AJ Greer. I don't remember who the last play they were missing with.
Rodriguez?
Who was it?
Did Rodriguez? Could it be Rodriguez?
Was it Evan Rodriguez? I don't remember who the third.
He came back. Okay,
was it Gadjevich possibly?
I know that Reinhart and Mikkola were 2 of them that were missing games.
Yeah, those
I don't
guys
remember
were
who
out.
the third one was. But anyway. I'm just so impressed with this Florida Panthers team. I said going into the playoffs that the biggest issue with them is I just thought the cup fatigue was finally going to catch up to them. You played back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. One in which you won. One went to 7 games. The team, I think it would have been somewhat fatigued. That's an extra probably 2/3 of a season of hockey, maybe more, having the type of run. And here they are again, 1 win away from their 3rd straight Cup Finals appearance.
What would you guys say if Carolina getting their first win in round 3 in a long time? What if the floodgates open for them? And it's just like, and they do a reverse sweep.
I don't see it happening, but
if that were to happen, that would be a colossal meltdown. But I just can't see it. I don't even think it's going past 5. Personally,
I can't see it either. But I just thought, it's like I say it a lot too, right? That 4th game, like if you're going to sweep, it's that 4th game that's the hardest one to win.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the because the other team, they're desperate, but can they be desperate for 4 games and win like that? Not often.
No, it's tough. It's only been done 4 times ever in NHL history.
Yeah.
Most recently, the 2014 LA Kings, who ended up winning the Cup the year they did when they came back in the first round.
Who was the first team to do it ever?
Was it the 42 Leafs, I believe?
I think so. Second team.
I think it was the 75 Islanders, and then me and Eric's 2010 Flyers.
That's
with the others. But I'm looking at this series, and again, Florida, high octane, physical, playing strong, playing to their game, wearing down Carolina. And I look at Brind'Amour too, and I don't think he's going to get fired. But does he start getting put under the microscope of a guy who just can't get his team over the hump? I don't know.
Well,
yeah,
I don't know. I see yes and no, because at the same time, like one of the biggest arguments is always like with Carolina and why they struggle past the second round is they're always like, well, they don't have that high end player. They don't have the Mikko Rantanen. They don't have the Nathan McKinnon. They don't have the Barkov. Well, you could make an argument that maybe Aho is as good as Barkov, or at least similar. But they don't have the guy there. It's really done by committee. But as soon as you get to like a 3rd round, you need that game breaker to really elevate you, to get you past a certain hurdle. And unfortunately for them, look, they don't have that guy. They tried last year with Gensel. Like I thought Gensel really fit in well, but you know what? They dicked around in the offseason and they missed their chance to sign him. This year they tried with I'll give them credit. They tried with Rantanen.
Yeah.
They tried to bring. He didn't want to sign, and they
even tried Mitch Marner too.
Exactly. They tried to swap them, and like, look, I understand. You don't want to lose the guy for nothing, especially with what you gave up to acquire him. You don't want to then have him walk at the end of the season. So, look, at the end of the day, when it comes to Brind'Amour, I think if I'm not mistaken, he had just signed an extension,
he's not going to get fired.
He's not getting fired. A couple of days ago, all I saw online was like a lot of Flyers, like a few Flyers guys on Twitter were being like, yeah, of course, we signed Tocchet and now Brind'Amour is going to get fired. We could have had Brind'Amour. I'm like, no, Brind'Amour is not getting fired. It's not happening.
No.
So, don't worry about it. He's got security there. And plus, honestly, I believe that if ever Brind'Amour leaves Carolina, like once he's done in Carolina, I don't think he's gonna coach anymore. I think I'm that's my belief. Something that I like, little tidbits that I hear like on pods every now and then. Like it just sounds like if it's not gonna be Carolina, I don't think he's going anywhere else. That he's comfortable, he's good.
Young.
Yeah, honestly, that's what I heard. I think Friedman brought it up at one point, maybe like a year ago or something. It was around the time when his contract was up and he was up for an extension.
That might not mean anything, though.
No, but like
it may have been more of a bully, like a way to get more money.
Yeah,
it's possible. Look, I'm not saying it's not. It's very possible, but like I just thought for whatever reason, I don't know why, but it wouldn't surprise me if Brendan Moore was like that guy. Like, yeah, okay, no problem.
I would be surprised. I'd be very surprised.
Wouldn't shock me.
I mean, you can say that, but then suddenly money could talk, and the team brings in the Binks trucks and brings him like a $7 million a year deal, where it's like, oh wow, make you the highest paid coach. Maybe I will coach again. Money talks, man. Everyone's got a price. So
money talks and bullshit walks.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Rick? What do you think of this series so far?
What do I think of this series so far? Been really one-sided. I didn't pay enough attention. Like I had the game on last night, and I don't remember what I was doing. I got into something I was watching, I guess, and I didn't pay close attention. I think it's going to revert back to Florida being the dominant team, even though they're going back to Carolina, because clearly Florida doesn't have any problems going to Carolina and winning.
Correct.
And they know they can, and I don't think that's going to be an issue. I'm just surprised. I thought it would be more competitive and the hockey to be more exciting overall, and it hasn't been.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at this, like I said, it just shows how damn good Florida has been and how you got to appreciate a team of this talent and quality. Like, it's like the torch got passed from Tampa to Florida, but a completely different style. Tampa just had elite goaltending and overwhelmed you with their high-end talent. Florida is a team that has a lot of depth and has some elite talent, but they grind
you down.
Wear you down. They beat you down. And it's what you need to get along in the playoffs. You're not going to win with just speed and skill. It's not possible. If you're a small team, you're going to learn the hard way when the playoffs begin, when that marathon begins and your body starts getting sent through the friggin' ringer.
That physical game gets heavier and worse as you go through the playoffs. So around 3 now. Exactly. And, I see also a little bit of that, it's just Carolina has come up against a team that's better than them. Yeah. And when that happens, a team can look great round 1, great round 2, and then round 3, they meet the team that they're not getting by. And you see it, and it makes a team that look great, and then all of a sudden they look like they're one of the worst teams in the league against a good, So I think some of this is Carolina's just come up against a better team.
Yeah.
And look.
All right. With that being said, let's move on.
Eric had a comment.
Wait.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Eric. I apologize.
Just to finish off with this series, I just want to say, first of all, Carolina game 1 actually played really well. If you look at all the underlying numbers and everything, I went to look at it. They drove play for a good chunk of that game. They ended up with the highest score, the highest goals expected, and whatever. And even if you look at I don't know if you know about this, Alex, but Money Puck has the deserve to win meter.
Oh, I've seen those. Yes.
Yeah, you see, and it's it had Carolina game 1 at 70 whatever percent, in the high 70s.
I think it was 79. In fact, Dallas had it pretty high last game against Edmonton. We'll get into that in a moment.
Yeah, but anyway, again, that's a novelty, but that's not what I mean. But my whole also Carolina so far this series has scored 7 goals. Okay, they've scored only 7 goals.
2 of them being empty.
2 of them are 5-on-5. 3 of them are power play. 2 of them are empty netters.
Yeah, that ain't gonna cut it for anybody.
You're not gonna win like that. You can't win like that. And so they just gotta, I don't know, man. I don't know what they have to do. They just gotta start. I don't know if they gotta start matching more with the grit that started leaning on Florida as much as they've been leaning on them. I don't know what it is, but they gotta get those dirty goals.
They're gonna have to solve Bob. Bob
Yeah.
is
Bob is
doing
playing
what
great.
he does at this time of the year. He gets to the
Yeah.
third round, or the farther he gets
flip.
better as he goes along. Yeah,
But
sorry for overrunning you there. I didn't realize, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah,
Got to get those garbage goals, and
Yeah.
that's it.
That switch flips, especially for Bob. Everyone always thinks that he's cooked and worn down, but then he hits that extra gear, and we know what kind of player that he turns out to be.
Yep.
But
I just want to say this about when you say garbage goals. That's something, in the regular season, there's a lot more room out there. Guys can be fancier and make all these nice plays. In the playoffs, though, garbage goals are the way to go because you don't have the time and space. You don't have the ability to make those fancy plays and whatever. And, garbage goals that's the way to go, man.
having a stud power forward in the playoffs is always a absolute killer.
It's a necessity, I think, nowadays. Like you were saying, you need that breakout guy, the guy that game breaker guy. If you don't have a game breaker, I don't know.
Tough. It's if you don't have a game breaker, it's tough. It really is tough.
It is. And not every team has one, and there aren't enough to go around for every team right now. So it's not easy.
Sure.
If you can get a game breaker, you got to get him.
Big reason why I'm against expansion even more because there's already so much talent you can.
I agree. No, I agree 100%. It's a problem.
Not to go too off target. Anyway, anyone else have any final thoughts before we move on to the West?
Nope.
All right. Dallas Edmonton right now. This series is currently 2-1 Oilers. Game 4 is happening tonight as we record this. And again, all these games have been blowouts here so far as well. Although I will say Game 1 had some exciting moments since Dallas did come back from a 3-1 deficit in the third period. They're lucky not to be down 3-0 because of that. They flipped the switch, woke up, ended up winning that game 6-3 before Edmonton beat the piss out of them Game 2. And then Game 3, I think Dallas played a good game, but they just couldn't quite get to the level that they needed to and finish a lot of these bids. Eric, let me let you start this time. What do you think of that series?
Oh, look, and at the same, I think Dallas has played pretty well. Edmonton's played pretty well as well. I just want to talk about Stuart Skinner because
that's what I was gonna do. I wanted to say Stuart Skinner. Go ahead.
Like, this guy makes no sense to me. I swear he makes no sense to me. Like, if he's not posting a shutout or just allows one goal, he's letting in 5.
I know
it, and for whatever reason, man, this guy has Dallas's number. He has. Look, in the last two playoffs, right? So this year, so far the games he's played this year and last year against Dallas, he has a 920 save percentage against Dallas. 920.
That's crazy.
Just this year's playoffs, a 928 against Dallas in the 3 games. Okay, the rest of the playoffs that he's played, like rounds 1 and 2 combined, he has an 890 save percentage. Okay,
what a difference.
I want to let you know something too, though. In that 890, okay, there's 2 shutouts in there. There's 2 shutouts against Vegas. So it just goes to show how bad he was before that. Like, he makes no sense. You look at his numbers, and for whatever reason, this guy wakes up in the 3rd round. Like last year too, it was the same thing.
What did I say?
Consistently inconsistent.
What did I say though? Going into the playoffs, I said exactly that. Skinner gets better in the later rounds and in the later games in a series. He gets better. And it's Stuart Skinner has been the biggest difference here. Also, I think Edmonton is playing a game to match the physicality of Florida when they meet them. That's an interesting stat I saw today. Zach Hyman, 82 games, 118 hits. 14 games in the playoffs, 109. So that says a little bit of what's going on there in that series is that Edmonton is playing a much more physical game and Dallas isn't responding well.
You know what I will give the Oilers? They look determined. They look like they got some drive. They are playing with a chip on their shoulder.
They want to get back and win.
They know if they get past Dallas, which I'm not 100% convinced they're going to do yet. They look like the team that they're the more likely of the teams to win, not just because they're up 2-1, but they've had the better of play in this series. I can acknowledge that. But if they can get past the Stars and Peter DeBoer, who feels like the Carolina Hurricanes of the West, if they lose this series too, if they get past them, they know they got a chance of redemption against the same team that beat them last year. They're playing with some fire. And I'll tell you one thing, if they get there, I'm picking them to beat Florida. If they do it, I'm done picking against Edmonton if they get past Dallas.
I said in this round, I'm going Canadian. I'm picking Oilers. And for that reason, too, and I think I said it, that they smell revenge. And Connor McDavid wants that freaking cup. And after getting the Four Nations trophy, he's all in for this one. And I think he's pulling them along. And Skinner is just what do you say? It's hard to predict what he's going to do, but he's been good overall.
He flipped the switch again.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought. I really wouldn't have thought.
We crapped on Edmonton's depth. Look at some of the guys that are scoring. Bouchard, I think he's got 17 points in the playoffs, something crazy like that. I think he's the highest scoring defenseman in the playoffs right now.
He is.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins looks like he's found another gear. Looks like he's finding the form of back when he put up that 100-point season. He's been playing great suddenly. Evander Kane, when he came back to the lineup, he flipped the switch. Trent Frederick being the physical presence that they picked up at the deadline that they needed. Obviously, you got McDavid and Draisaitl. Zach Hyman being the net front monster. As you mentioned, Rick being a hit machine. They have guys that are turning it up. Darnell Nurse being on the second pair, he's even played half decent. Yeah. And you know me, I never have anything good to say about Darnell Nurse. It's a player.
It looks like
different, but
it looks like a team that peaked at the right time.
They got hot at the right time. I absolutely agree.
And that's what you try to do. You try to peak as you're going into the playoffs. It's not.
Now I'll mention this: if they do get past Dallas, and it's Edmonton, Florida, they have home ice this time.
Mm-hmm.
They would be the home team if they match up going into a Game 7.
Yeah, so, I think it's a legitimate chance that Edmonton brings the cup home to Canada.
I think. I'd give it probably at least a 30% chance. I'm not counting Dallas out. They were my Stanley Cup pick at the beginning of the year all the way to now, and I'm sticking with Dallas. But I don't feel as confident as I once did. I will say that. And let's look at the other side of the things here. What's up with the Stars? What has gone wrong with them suddenly?
I think that their depth has gone cold. That it's honestly, for me, it's as easy as that. Their depth has gone cold. All playoffs. I feel like even look someone like Wyatt Johnson, who I think it was last year, he had a monster playoff. He's been really quiet this year. Guys like Duchesne, like Seguin, all these guys are like they're not producing. And if they are producing, it's on the power play, but they're not getting the production 5-on-5.
I haven't seen a thing from Tyler Seguin this entire play. I'm sorry to interrupt.
He did get one.
He had that one goal. Game. I think he had like 2 goals and an assist or something.
He had one. I think he got. Maybe it was the first one. He got the.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it was Game 1 against Edmonton.
Yeah, he got the winning goal. I know that. I believe that. Anyway, he had a good game then, but overall, no. It's the same thing I said about Carolina. It's that it looks like Dallas just meeting a team that's better than them right now.
But it's really weird because these are guys that even like in the season produced. That these are guys that in previous playoffs produced. This year, it's like their depth has gone.
Okay, but it's kind of like Edmonton. Like I just said, they kind of seems like they're peaking at the right time going into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. It's possible that Dallas it's the opposite, and that happens, right? You just go cold at the wrong time, and that could be it.
Mikko Rantanen was fabulous those first 2 series. Now he's gone cold. I haven't heard much of him in this Edmonton series, to be perfectly honest with you.
It's what happens when, you're great, you're doing well, but you hit that wall of a better team.
Yeah, and like I think Rantanen's picked up a couple points in the series, but like other than that, like it seems like this playoffs is like if Rantanen's not going God mode, or if Ottinger's not putting up like a 950 save percentage or something like that,
they're not
like
winning.
Dallas is struggling.
Yeah.
And like Rick said, like maybe they just hit a slump at the wrong time.
Isn't part of winning a cup being consistent in the playoffs? And and that's what you're seeing out of Florida and Edmonton, in my opinion. And you're just Carolina and Dallas falling short on being consistent. There's
one thing I will say: we criticized Winnipeg for this. I think Dallas deserves this. Dallas 7-2 at home, 2-5 on the road.
Yep,
they have not played well away from their barn. Been great at home, but on the road, it's similar to Winnipeg. They have been struggling.
It's just hard to explain that, because probably in the regular season they did good on the road, but then in the playoffs they run cold on the road. It's hard to explain why that happens.
Well, I mean, the quality of talent is all good in the playoffs. So that's probably a big part of it right there. So.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. You're probably right. You're stepping up into that, it's that increased skill level or effort level that is given in the playoffs, and that maybe is the wall that you run into and you just can't overcome.
Oh, for sure. And I gotta say, one person who doesn't deserve blame for this is Jake Ottinger. I don't think he's played that bad at all, even in the games that he's lost. He's been consistent, and I haven't really seen too many goals that I look at and say, oh, he should have made that save. Oh, he's got to make that stop. I think Ottinger overall has played pretty good, even in this series, too, even some of the games that they lost. A lot of those have been more of defensive lapses. Like, I remember we look back to Game 3, for example. That broke open on the Hyman breakaway. Once that happened, game was out of reach. Example there. McDavid, they had a 3-on-1 where McDavid, I think it was either Hyman and Nugent Hopkins, I can't remember which, were pretty much playing hot potato to find the open seam before he got beat. And it's the best player in the world coming at you on a 3-on-1 playing with one of his line mates he's got great chemistry with. I don't blame Ottinger at all for this. They need to find some level of consistency, as Eric mentioned, from their depth, and they need their big guns to start showing up because they have not been scoring in bunches like they need to.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, the fourth member of our group has joined us, Mr. Matt Nordimus Prime. Matt, please tell me your mic's on. How you doing tonight, bud?
Ooh.
Testing. 1, 2. Oh, there he is.
There he is. Not.
Well, he's having some technical difficulties. He shall probably be back shortly. Give him a minute. But does anyone else have anything else to add here? And if Nordy does get in here, we can throw him in a bone. But anything else, Eric, maybe?
No, I just want to say, look, all it takes is one game, for Dallas to just it's all gonna click and they'll figure it out. And they're a really good team. They're a really stacked team, and they just gotta. And the board's a good coach, and they have to figure it out because I think, like we've mentioned in the past too, and this actually a little bit applies also for Edmonton, but like more for Dallas right now because they're trailing in the series. But like this offseason is gonna be a tough offseason for them. They're gonna have to move some pieces around. They're gonna have to take out some money. So this is probably gonna be the best version of Dallas that you're gonna see, that you're probably gonna see.
Yeah.
So,
but Eric said,
gotta figure it out.
When you are the team that has run into that wall, it doesn't matter what you. So what I'm saying is Dallas has to win the next game.
Oh, for sure. I agree with that. They're not winning if they go down 3-1. I don't care.
You can't go down 3-1. You cannot.
It's not gonna. They're not. It's over if they don't win the next game. Now, could they win the next game? Yeah, of course. But we're gonna find out where they stand. Obviously,
the puck should be dropping soon, eh?
It should be just starting now.
Well, how about we give Nordy a piece to give his take on that series, and then we'll move on to our next topic. So, Nordy, what do you think of that Dallas-Edmonton series?
I haven't watched a lot of it, aside, really from the first game, but kind of like the series in the East, like the games haven't, I think, really been that close. They've been kind of, I think 3 goals, I think, has been the closest any of the games have been so far. It could be yeah.
I think you're
Yeah.
right.
They've all excuse me, pretty much been blowouts. Yeah, 3-0 in both series is the closest that any of the games have been. Yeah, it's just kind of but that series is more of a back and forth. But again, I haven't really watched a lot of it, so I can't really give an in-depth analysis.
It's been pretty one-sided, but Dow's had its moments, but it's been pretty one-sided.
All right. So with that being said, let's move on to our next topic. One of the things we want to touch on is the officiating and how it's been in these playoffs so far. So there have been a lot of calls that haven't got the correct warrant of punishment, I believe. There's been issues where players have maybe gotten no penalties or minors when they should have got majors. Or maybe there's been issues where the Department of Player Safety didn't do their job, when there's been like an egregious call on something that we expected, and maybe some level of suspension, where you barely see a fine, if that. There's been a lot of issues.
Or a head scratcher. You go, what? How? What?
So let me lead this off with the king of officiating criticism, Rick. What do you think about the officiating overall? Has enough been done, and do you think they're being held liable enough?
You're going to be surprised at what I say. I think overall the officiating's not been bad, but there has been moments. Yeah, I've been watching most of the games.
And I agree.
Complain.
I agree with you, Rick. I think for the most part, it's been all right, but yeah, there have been moments, but those moments have been pretty like what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean?
There's been bad moments. There's been bad moments and some really weird calls or bad calls or whatever. But overall, I guess I'm surprised that it's not worse. And so for me, that means it's been okay. And it's playoff officiating where you let a lot of shit go. Whistles in the pocket, that kind of thing. And that's what they've been doing. It's just some of the calls they've made have been, like during the season and go like, what? Yeah. I don't get it.
No, I agree. I think one that kind of comes to mind from, the Eastern Conference final right now is, I think it was game 1. Brad Marchand took a bit of a run at Shane Gostisbehere, a little high. Yeah. Gostisbehere then proceeded to fire a puck at Brad Marchand.
He slapped the puck at him, yeah.
It was a wrister, but
it was a slap shot.
The game.
No, he just wristed it. He didn't go slapper.
He wound up.
He went ghost bomb.
He wound up.
Hold on, I'm going to watch that real quick. I'm pretty sure he did hit him, and it was still effed up.
But I thought it was a slapper.
But, and it's like, all right, like I get Marchand getting tossed out of the game, but how do you not toss Ghost out for shooting a puck at somebody? Like, I know it didn't really hit him, but like if he hit him, like
it was the principle. Yeah,
like he could have seriously hurt him. Like
he didn't.
I don't know how he didn't get more and didn't get tossed.
Yeah, it was a wrister. I just looked at the video. It wasn't a slapper.
It wasn't a slapper.
It was more of a snapshot. He got a lot.
Okay, a snapshot. I'll give you that. Okay, a snapshot. Then that's fair.
Yeah.
Now still can't shoot the puck at people.
No, I
correct,
agree.
Didn't
principle still stands.
Except for the goalie, you can shoot the puck at the goalie.
Yeah,
Marchand came away with the 2-minute penalty. So from that, the Canes were on a power play, and I don't get how that's possible.
Marchand got thrown out of the game too.
Did he get thrown out, or he just got?
Yeah, he got thrown out of the game.
But it was near the end of the game, if I'm correct.
It was like 14 minutes left in the third.
Oh, really? Was there that much? All right. I think actually you're right.
Maybe it might have been around 10 minutes. There was still like a good chunk of the game left.
You're right. You're right. I remember now. But how the hell he clearly, if you look at it,
clearly, even the announcers were like, he's shooting it at Brad Marchand.
Like,
how is that not a call?
How is that not a call?
Yeah.
It was missed. I agree with that. The principle
it wasn't missed. No, wait. It was ignored. No,
it wasn't missed. They just let it go. Missed. But it was like, I mean, I didn't like at first I didn't even notice it, and then the announcers were like, well, I don't know, maybe he was just trying to clear and then they showed the replay and they were like, oh no, he shot at him.
Yeah.
Like, how is he not thrown out of I thought for sure he was getting thrown out with Brad Marchand. I'm like, wait.
To be fair, Ghost has a history of missing the net quite often in his tenure here.
Go look at that one. He fired.
No, I agree. It was on purpose. I was just ball busting. It was on purpose.
Not even a doubt in my mind about that one.
That was more of just a little troll.
I mean, too, you think back to the Toronto series, like Stolarz, like, come on. Like, Sam Bennett clearly took his head off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That
You know what, though? I saw a video yesterday going over that. And I think it was the guys on Spittin' Chicklets. And I don't know. There's a few angles, and I don't know that he hit him that hard.
Nah, he got him. He got him.
He
concussed him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I gotta say, there's some angles, and you look at it, and I don't know. It's hard to tell. But okay, go back to it. Sorry,
but it's also Sam Bennett, so we know it was accidentally on purpose. But he's so damn good at making things like that look like it was an accident. That's why he gets away with it.
Guy'd be a good actor.
Mm-hmm. He plays on the edge. He plays on that line, and you know
He
what?
does.
That's what you need in the playoffs.
In the playoffs, you need it.
One of those guys. Hate to play against them. Love to have on your team. I got one other call that I don't think got talked about enough that has really hurt Dallas in this series. How about the Darnell Nurse two-handed chop on Ropey Hintz? And that
hurt Ropey Hintz, right? That hurt him, right?
Yeah, it was originally given a major, and then they brought it down to a minor, and he missed it.
I have to see it. I have not seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
It was intentional. It was clear as day.
I had just missed it, too. I missed it. I was getting something in the kitchen, came back. It was all done.
Oh, look.
Replays and everything.
Yeah. No, like the nurse slash.
I'm looking it up right now because I want to see it.
It's one of those plays that like it's one like I don't want to say like it happens all the time, but like in front of the net, guys will always take little jabs at each other. I think it was just happened to be like just bad luck. It got Rope Hintz in like a really vulnerable.
Oh, I remember now. That's where he just swung at him. He's standing in front of the net. The ankle,
right? He wanted to give him a little slash, and he caught.
No, that was on purpose.
I think he went.
I'm not saying it wasn't on purpose.
That was on purpose. He hurt. That hurt. The thing is, if he hit him on the ankle, and now Hintz is not a defenseman, so he's probably not wearing that extra protection around the ankle.
Yeah.
If he hit him in the right spot, oh my God, that hurt.
I think he got him in the calf.
He got him. I think he got him in the laces. I think he got him like right, not necessarily the ankle, a little
so there's
lower.
no protection there.
Yeah, no, there's none.
And there's bone there. That hurt.
Yeah.
He did that on purpose, man.
Oh no, I'm not saying he didn't do it on purpose.
He got him like right where the shin pad ends and the skate starts.
Like, right on the top of the protection there. There's nothing they have for that.
And he swung that with purpose. That wasn't light. That wasn't like a light jab. Like he brought that thing back. Boom. Got him right in the foot.
That was my big issue. Is the fact it's not the fact that he slashed it, it's the amount of force he put behind it. It wasn't just one of those little whacks to the ankles just to show him, hey, listen, I'm not putting up with that bullshit. He was looking to do some damage with that swing.
Yeah.
And Dallas lost their 1C because of it. Now, is Ropey Hintz the best 1C in the world? No, but he's an impactful player on that team.
Yeah, for sure. That hurts.
He's a game time decision tonight, I think.
He's playing. He's expected to play.
He was. Yeah, I know he was supposed to take warm-ups, and they were going to decide from there.
He's expected to play, from what I've read.
Yeah, he got him right on the top of the boot, like right on the top of the foot.
Yeah, that hurts there, man.
Yeah, that wasn't
like you said, Fern. Like that wasn't a light tap by any means. Like he wound up and really whacked him. I don't know how that didn't stay a major.
That was my issue. Like, how do you not keep that call there? And there was one other one that really drove me batty. That drove a lot of people batty. It was I think it was in the Florida Tampa series too. There was John Cooper did a little shot to Florida afterwards. It was a player in Florida that got hurt, and Cooper said, our guys don't try to injure players on purpose or something like that. Or maybe it was
I remember that. I remember. Was it Ekblad? I don't know if I saw it, but I remember that comment.
I know Ekblad was hurt a little bit, yeah.
I think Ekblad got hurt. I don't remember. I know Tampa and Florida really had some back and forth.
There's some bad blood there.
They didn't get called. Oh, Barkov. That's who got hurt. It was Barkov. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Hagel? Hagel hit him in the
Yes,
head.
the Brady Hagel. That's right. And that was another one. That was the one that really got it all going, I feel like. There's been a lot of it, for sure.
No, but look, I've been watching hockey for over 30 years at this point, and it's the same shit every single year. Like every single year. And it's playoff hockey. This shit's not gonna get called. It's not.
No.
And they let them get away with almost literally almost anything. And that's just that. And it's I don't. It's the right word. I don't want to say it's sad, but like you literally almost have to build two teams. Mm-hmm. It's stupid to say, but like you have to build a team.
You make a good point. That's
you have to build a team for the regular season, and then you have to build a team for the playoffs.
Okay, but that's why the term, built for the playoffs. That's what they
exactly. So like you look at a team like Florida, they're built for the playoffs. They just are. Like they could finish 8th or 7th or whatever. It doesn't matter because come playoffs, they're gonna be in your face, they're gonna grind you down, they're gonna take liberties, and they're not gonna get called for it.
Yeah, because it seems clear that the NHL wants literally a war out on the ice.
Yeah.
And they're kind of reffing the game in that way, where these guys, it's not a question of how did they miss that call? It's not a question of that. They didn't. Why didn't they call it? That's the question.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a better assessment for it.
Yeah.
And that's why the Stanley Cup is the hardest trophy to win, because it literally takes
a lot at
out
play.
of you.
I think Eric gave a good breakdown there. It's two different seasons. It's two different styles of game.
But it's been like that forever. I mean,
and that's where the term playoff experience comes in, because you understand it.
Right.
That's why, look, that's why teams like Toronto in the past, like Washington in the past, when they were like run and gun, let's go, high scoring, that shit doesn't work in the playoffs. You'll never win that way. Never.
And it's the reason why Toronto doesn't win. They're not.
Well, there's a reason why, like this year, Toronto, they hired Berube. They had a different coach. They added a little more size on the back end. They got a little tougher.
But their main players aren't willing to pay the price to win in the playoffs.
Well, no, that's why this offseason they're gonna have to change up the offense.
Because
they fixed the back end.
They're gonna get some girth.
They need it. They need a Sam Bennett. They need an Evander Kane. They need a Trent Frederick. Like guys like that. They need guys.
They need
with
toughness.
size.
That's why they brought in Scott Watt.
Size, toughness, and meanness. That's what they need. And that's what Montreal needs as well. We need a little bit of fucking meanness.
But exactly.
With that size.
Like Montreal too in the past. Yeah. Montreal always had these small, speedy teams. Why couldn't they get anything done? Because you get to a certain point, I'm sorry, but size and strength wins. That's just, I'm bigger than you. I'm going to run you into the ground.
That's and right now, it seems like that is the way it's the way the league wants it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, you can say, are the refs that bad? But if all the refs are reffing in the same kind of way, it has to be a direction from the league.
It absolutely is.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think it's like an unspoken rule. I don't think
they'll never
Gary Bettman actually goes to the refs and says, "Hey guys, put your whistles away." It's just they know.
They'll never cop to it, but in behind closed doors, they speak about it and give the directions what they want, but they'll never cop to that.
Oh, no, never.
No, they can't.
It has to be, or else we'd see maybe one ref. There you go. Well, that guy, he's reffing properly. You don't see that.
Things that, whether it's just like even like just players, they just bring it to a different level when it comes to the playoffs, and like,
well, that you have to. If you have a team, and this is another Toronto thing, if your players don't step up a notch in effort and in intensity, you're not going far in the playoffs.
Oh no, nope,
no shot. If you can't find that extra level, no way.
It has to be at least in intensity and effort, and if you can't do that, you're never going to get up a level in the results. Let's say So
and this is the difference between having some dogs and having some guys who just aren't mentally prepared to win it all.
Mhm.
You need some
Exactly.
dogs. I agree with that. That was a great breakdown for it.
It's a mentally, probably the most difficult mentally, the championship to win in the major
Oh,
sport.
no question.
Oh, 100%.
No question about it. The grind mentally and physically you go through can't be matched.
It cannot be matched. The grind, the length of time in the grind cannot.
And that's
it's
what
at a
makes
time when
so impressive, man, doing this potentially 3 years in a row going to the finals. I mean, Tampa did it too, but
that's why, after 3 years, that's when a team kind of loses steam, though. They can't. It's too much hockey over a short period of time. You got like a 2, 3, maybe 4 years. You can do that in a row. So you take the teams that have done the four cups in a row, and the Habs did it 5. That you think how fucking hard is that?
The Isles
on your
did
fourth,
it. You guys
on your fourth cup. How hard is that grind on how many games you played? Now back in the day when Habs did it, and that sure they played a little bit less hockey, a little bit less, but still it's incredibly hard. So hats off to any of the teams that have done 4 in a row, and there's been a few, and then the Habs won 5.
All right. Yeah. Does anyone else have anything else to add before we move on to our next topic?
Are we going to talk about the retaliation stuff, or we're going to leave that question off again?
But hey, you know what? Let's talk about it. Just in general, like
the question here. I'll read the question.
Lead it off, Rick.
Retaliation penalties. I don't have the whole question as originally. Retaliation penalties. How should they be called? Basically, should the ref call the retaliation only, the original call or infraction only, or both?
I think it's a case-by-case scenario. Honestly, I think you take it case by case. I can't really definitively say, oh, they should only call the retaliation, oh, they should only call the original. You got to go case by case on that because you need to see the play and how it was cultivated. If there was something that deserved some level of retaliation, then yeah, I could see why you could call both sides or maybe lean towards the original aggressor.
Then why is it retaliation?
Yeah.
What do you mean deserve some level? Why is it retaliation if nothing happened?
Yeah. I said,
something had to have happened.
I go case by case. It really just depends on what the penalty and infraction is.
I'll go next. I call both players. If you're calling the retaliation, then you saw the first fucking call and you didn't call it. Fuck off and call both.
Rick's new hashtag, fuck off and call both.
There you go. Putting it on a t-shirt.
It's going to be right there. Fuck off, call both. And it's going to be a picture of Rick waving his arm like a pissed off grandpa on The Simpsons.
Oh, that's what I was doing.
Hey, boy.
That's what I was doing.
Old man yells at cloud.
There you go.
Naughty, show us up next.
No, look, I agree with Rick there because, you also got to think about, these guys, these locker rooms, they're never going to not stick up for their teammates. And if you start calling, just the retaliator, it's like, well, then, that the camaraderie's not out the window, but, you'll have guys that just won't be able to play their game. Like I can think of a few instances last season. Arbor Jack guy got called for retaliating, but it's like his teammate just got boarded head first, or his teammate just got hit in the head. Like, what do you expect him to do? Nothing. Like, in those instances, you need to call both because, or just let it go, or let it go. Like, because these guys are gonna never not stick up for each other.
But if you're not calling the initial infraction, then what is the why are you calling it a retaliation call?
Not only that, but it's like why?
What?
Why do you think these happen sometimes? It's because the first call isn't called, and the players are like, "Well, we got to police ourselves now."
That's right. Sometimes that's why there's retaliation, is because it wasn't called, so they're going to do something about it.
Yeah.
So call the initial call. quicker, and maybe it won't be the retaliation. But no, call both. If there's 2 calls, call them both.
Well, I think it all depends though, because it's like one thing, like honestly, that bothers me too. Like in some cases, like when you see like a clean hit, and it's just like, but it's like a hard clean hit, and then like I understand, like look, teammates will stand up for each other, like so.
But that's
like,
not retaliation, Eric, because there was nothing there. So it's not retaliation, and then that what you call retaliation should be called.
Retaliation though is that's not really a penalty. It's just a term that people just throw out there.
I get it. But if you're calling a guy for a retaliation call, and it's clear that's what you're calling, then call the first one. If it's an innocent hit and they want to come back at it, then that retaliation should be called only, because there was no first infraction.
But that goes off the case-by-case scenario thing. That's why I can't always.
But if there's an infraction, you see it. So it's not like if there's none, there's none. I still disagree with
that. But not all retaliations as portrayed are led by an infraction either. So that's...
But in this case, we're saying call one, the other, or both. So we're saying there was an initial thing. And a lot of times, right, that guy doesn't get called, and the guy that fights back gets called. That's what we're talking about. But clear, if there's no penalty and it's a clear hit, clean hit, and the guy says, "Well, I don't like it," well, call that guy, because if he doesn't like a clean hit, that's his problem.
But it all depends on what's being retaliated, right? Because like the ref might see something, and like he just maybe the way he saw it, he doesn't think it's a penalty. But like the player on the other team might like no, fuck, like this is a penalty, and I'm gonna stand up for my guy for whatever reason. So it's I don't know. It's one of those things, like Alex said, it's really a case by case kind of thing.
No, I get what you're saying, and because we're not refs, and they should have a better eye to catch that, and I get what you're saying. But I'm just saying, if there's a penalty that should be called, but they only call the guy that fights back because he doesn't like it. That's wrong.
Well, yeah, but like I said, that's to the ref's discretion, because he might not have thought that the play was something that should have been penalized. So
that's where I said we're as fans, we don't see it as in the same way they do. And sure, we might see a penalty and it's really not. And I'll agree with you on that. But
there's also egregious things that go uncalled where players have no choice but to beat the ever-loving fuck out of whoever did it. Like, you know what I mean? And it's in those cases you have to call both.
See, otherwise, I don't know. It's because the way I never played ice, but I played a lot of ball hockey. And for me, it's like if some guy took liberties on one of my players, my first instinct was not to like, okay, well, I'm gonna go retaliate and I'm gonna go get myself a penalty. But you better believe the next shift that I'm on, someone's getting like I'm taking a liberty on their guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, and that's why I'm like, just take the number down. Don't caution. Like the ref already didn't call a penalty, so you're just putting your team in a deficit right now. Next shift, take the guy's number or identify somebody else on their team and go give him a shot behind the lines when the ref's not looking.
Hockey's not like that. Hockey's a game of you lose your head sometimes. It's a reaction.
It's emotional for sure.
So you can't. It's not going to be taken out. So
I'm not gonna lie. I was expecting Rick to go into a little bit of a ref rant again. I was gonna wait for the perfect opportunity to play this.
I used that for.
Wait, is that Cam who recorded that?
No, that's me. I used it for the membership video, the intro video, because I was talking to somebody, so I needed I used that from Charlie Brown.
I was gonna say I thought that was gonna be the actual not one of us actually speaking it.
No, that was me that put it in there, and I left it there because I thought I might use that again.
Honestly, that's funny. That is funny. But anyway, anyone else have any other points before we move on to our last talking point of the night?
No.
Nope.
No, I'll just say this: you guys have me a little bit kind of convinced of maybe a case by case basis, because. If you're looking at it that way, where maybe it's an innocent hit, okay. In that sense, it's a case by case basis. So I may lean towards that because I didn't think about that part before.
Just here to help.
All right.
Just here to help.
So NHL playoffs, I will say, have been a little bit repetitive over the last couple of years, just based on we'll always get what feels like to be the same exact matchups in each and every year, whole 9 yards. And this year, the conference finals, I'd say, I don't think anyone here would really argue, have probably been the worst of the 3 rounds so far.
Oh, yeah.
First round and second round, I thought were both great, but the conference finals have definitely felt watered down, which brings back up to one of the biggest arguments between the fans and the owners, going back to the 1-8 seeding. Now, funny enough, Carolina and Florida being in the East final right now, if it was 1-8 seeding, Florida would have been the 4 seed, Carolina would have been the 5 seed. They would have matched up in the first round. And out in the West, if it went 1-8, Dallas would have been the 3 seed. Edmonton would have been the 6 seed. Guess what? They would have matched up in the first round again. So that goes to our talking point. Is the NHL better with this wild card and division playoff and schedule layout? Or does this league desperately need to go back to 1-8 seeding? Eric, let you lead this one off.
Well, if you're asking me what I'd prefer 1-8, and I wouldn't even give division leader like an automatic second. I go 1-8, legit 1-8, like because then that could throw you off too. Because then you get a situation where like team 3 might have more points than the division leader from the other conference. So no, you go straight 1-8. That's how I would do it. Do I think the NHL would ever go back to 1-8? No, I don't. I think one, and and this might sound stupid, I think the biggest reason is the brackets. I think they say, oh, well, we want to create rivalry and blah 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 blah. Like, if you want to create rivalry, you do that in the season. So like, there's an act like, I remember back in the like, now correct me if I'm wrong, Rick, but I remember at one point like division teams used to play each other like 8 times in a season or something like that. And that created rivalry because then when you got to the playoffs, then like there was a hate on. Now you play each other like 3 times. You play everybody like 3 times. Like, so what rivalry are you even creating? And it's like this year I had to watch Edmonton, LA for like the 5th time, or 4th or 5th time. Like, come on, man. Like, I don't like. No, I'm sorry. I think this has all to do with like betting and brackets and whatnot, and like because. Obviously, if we go through 1-8, then you can't do brackets. So you don't have all the fans. Oh, I'm gonna do my bracket, and it's like
no, you could do a bracket. You could do a bracket 1-8.
1-8, no, because then it reseeds every time. You can't do a bracket 1-8.
Oh, that's a fair point. That is a fair point in terms of brackets. Yeah, I mean that is, I guess, somewhat of a fair point because of you could always have the argument of not reseeding, but I think. That would kind of water it down a little bit.
When I would do playoff pools like when it was still 1-8, every round we had to then go back and then like, okay, who are your picks for round 2? Who are your picks for round 3? Because you would never have like, depending on who wins, then because it reseeds, right?
You had to reseed the teams. Yeah.
So you couldn't do brackets, but now with the way it's set up now. Where it's like that's the only way you could do brackets and there's nothing's gonna change.
So you're telling me brackets are only recent?
It's since they went to the divisions, since they went to the way
this whole bracket NHL bracketology thing that they do, where you have to create a bracket that we do for the playoffs and stuff. I get it. That's a fair argument.
Is that recent only that for NHL?
Because the reseeding does complicate it a little bit.
Recent, but like you can thank March Madness for that, because that was kind of the original, like, the big bracket thing. But now, like, NHL has it. You can do it. College football, now that the playoffs expanded, you can do it there too. But I'll say this, and honestly, I think I nailed it again. Going into the playoffs, I said Dallas and Colorado would probably be the best series of the playoffs, and I don't think I'm incorrect. I think it's been I think that was by far the best series.
I think Florida Toronto gave some competition to it too. It's been those two have probably been the best, I'd say.
Yeah, but I think in terms of the hockey, like on the edge of your seat hockey, I think Colorado and Dallas.
I can agree
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, the Florida-Toronto thing was just because we hate Toronto, and I think that's.
I thought it was actually a good series, though.
It
Yeah,
was,
that's
but it was more interesting and made even better because of that.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Right.
think
No,
those-
but
that's
I'm,
fair.
if
I
I'm
could
thinking about
probably
it as
agree
someone
Dallas,
who
Colorado was the best.
either like is like watching the playoffs for the first time, or someone that like just wants to watch really good back and forth playoff hockey, that series I think has been the bestest playoffs. It's not close.
And it's funny. You mentioned Dallas, Colorado. That would have been the 3 and the 5 seed if they went to the 1 to 8. And Colorado would have got fraudulent ass Los Angeles, and Dallas would have got Edmonton. And maybe who knows how that would have gone now if you would have got the same Stuart Skinner. My
Exactly.
argument, yes, I like everyone else. I'm begging for them to go to 1 8. They need to go back to 1 8, and I'll double down. This will go back to our original first episode we ever did of the Sid Bin that me and Cam argued about this. They need to completely redo the whole fucking scheduling process as a whole. I do not need to fucking see 2 games against the opposing fucking conference every year. I don't give a shit about the Flyers playing against Utah or San Jose or fucking Vancouver or whatever. I don't care about out-of-conference games. It is so simple. And this can throw all this fucking expansion talk out the window, too. There is a perfect setup, and I said it before. I'm going to reiterate it one more time. You want to create the rivalries that the NHL has been trying to shove down our throats that has been a fraudulent argument anyway because they only play each other 4, sometimes even only 3 times in the same division. Do it like this if you want to push that narrative. 6 times within the same division. 6 times 7 is 42. That's 42 games in the division. That's about half your games right there. Bang. Keep the same 3 times against the opposing conference, the opposing division in the conference. That would be 8 teams, 3 times each. 3 times 8 is 24. 42 plus 24 is 66. You have 16 games remaining. What do you know? You have 16 teams in the opposing conference. 1 division all home, 1 division all away, 1 game each, alternated each year. It's not fucking brain surgery. Guess what that adds up to? 82 games. Why can't we do that? Because if you want to emphasize creating these bad blood rivalries, you're contradicting yourself with this stupid fucking playoff system because you're not doing that based off of your garbage ass schedule set. Stop contradicting yourself and at least change the fucking schedule if you're going to do this stupid this stupid rivalry bullshit you're trying to push down our throats that's been fraudulent from day one. Go back to the fucking way that it should be in 1 8 and stop fucking wasting our time. Mic drop.
Too bad you're not serious about it.
Oh my God, I hate it. I agree with Eric. It's probably not going to happen because Gary Bettman is hell bent to try and push his bullshit ass narrative down our damn throats.
Because everyone has to see Connor McDavid in their building every year.
Oh my God. I'm fun making that sacrifice.
If I'm correct, sometime in the 80s, weren't we doing only one to like the West?
It would be sometimes
we weren't around.
One
Eric
year
might have been like 2.
It was 1
Alex and I weren't
year.
around then.
1 year at home, 1 year there. Wasn't that how it was for a
It
while?
was until like not too long ago. It was still like that. It changed recently, like a few years back.
It makes too much sense. And you know what? I would make the sacrifice that Eric mentioned of not reseeding. The NBA does it anyway. They don't reseed after the first round. I would take that sacrifice if it meant going back to the 1 8. If you're the friggin' 1 seed and hypothetically you get lucky, hypothetically you're the 8 seed, you get lucky, or the 4 or 5 seed, for example, and the 8 seed happens to upset the 1 seed, and you get the 8 seed in the second round, well, there you go. Congratulations. If we don't have to reseed, you can keep your damn bracket tournament shit you can do. That would be fine. I would take the sacrifice of not reseeding if it meant going back to 1 8. 1 8 versus 4 5, 2 7 versus 3 6. Fine. Well, I'm with that.
I'd say this. Fuck gambling. Why should we have to suffer through and do things because of fucking gambling?
There's going to be gambling no matter what.
Money.
Exactly. It's
but
all
that's what ruins the game. You ruin the game when you got to make rules and make decisions based on how.
I don't even know
react.
if this is gambling because the NBA has the setup where they don't reseed. And same with the NCAA March Madness tournament. I don't think that particularly has to do with gambling. I think it's just Bettman is hell-bent with sticking with the way he has his playoff format.
Everything they do based on.
As far as I know, I think the NFL is the only league that reseeds after the first round.
Yeah, see, the end. No, well, yeah.
None of the college tournaments do it.
Now.
What?
Wait, does the MLB?
No.
When they go from the wild card to the divisional?
No.
They don't?
Nope.
Okay, then yeah, you're right.
Just the NFL, because none of the college tournaments do it.
I know that, yeah.
So they don't need to do it.
Don't reseed then. I don't care. Keep it the way it is.
I don't remember back in the day if they reseeded or not.
Before when they were at 1-8, they did reseed.
They reseeded every round. They reseeded.
Yeah,
I would
have upsets or whatever. Yeah.
I remember 2012 when we beat the Penguins. We ended up hosting the Devils as a 5 seed in the second round, and they were, I think, the 6 seed. And then the Rangers played the Capitals. I think the Rangers were a 1 and the Capitals were a 7. So, yeah, they did every single time. So, I don't know. I would prefer just to please go back to 1-8. We've got to stop deluding ourselves because now you're getting watered down hockey in the conference finals, which is probably the biggest issue with this because 2 matchups that should have happened in the first round based off of standings. And
the watered down hockey, though, could still happen.
Oh, it could, yeah.
It could still happen.
It could, but at least it was done the way it should have been done.
You might be less likely for it to happen. And, it's more natural going back the other way.
Yeah. Because the biggest argument I always hear about the difference from now to then is that, the first round was always kind of boring. And the first round, because you had, top teams playing against weaker teams But I'm like, okay, but now it's like the opposite. Your first round is super exciting, but then after that, everything else seems like you lose interest as you go along, So I guess it's like they always say it's like, oh, because we want to attract the fans in the first round, and then but okay, they watch a great but you'll watch Dallas versus Colorado, and then you're like, oh man, the next round's gonna be even better, and then you're like, oh, it's good, but it's not as good, and then you keep on going, and then you get disappointed. So it's like I'd rather my enthusiasm build round over round than decrease, right? I don't know about you, but I don't know. That's
exactly.
I agree.
I want to mention this. One of the first round series was not Colorado, Carolina and New Jersey. Carolina was 4th in the East. New Jersey was 7th. Does that sound fair? Does that sound fair to anyone? Meanwhile, Florida, who was the 5 seed, got Tampa, who was the 3 seed. And based on overall standings, if you went to 1-8. This is where my argument is. They desperately need to go back to 1-8. Stop deluding themselves with this garbage-ass setup and this garbage-ass schedule. Please. Fix issues that you never needed to fix to begin with. Simply put.
It's the brackets.
Maybe after Bettman leaves, maybe the new commissioner will
Bill Daly
do things differently. Maybe
changing.
You never know. Maybe he will.
I don't see it.
Depends who it is.
Didn't they say it's gonna be Bill Daly? He's taking over.
Bill Daly it'll be business as usual. Yeah.
Well, I'm in pain then.
It's staying this way. It's not changing. I don't see it changing.
No, I tend to agree with you. I don't think they're going to.
I'm going to listen to that rant tomorrow. Anyone else got anything else to add before we wrap things up?
Not I.
Not I. All right. Well, with that being said, that's going to wrap things up for this episode of the Pucking Around podcast. Does anyone have any final thoughts for the night before we?
I'll have this. If you enjoyed the episode, give a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and
what he said.
Do that.
There.
we're down there. I don't
that
know if
guy
I'm
over
pointing the
there
right
said.
way because I was told early in the episode it wasn't.
Signals.
Yeah, you need to have the things that you have in the airport that makes the planes land.
Yeah.
Signals them in. Anyone else have anything else for a final thought?
No, I think I'm done.
Nah. Pretty much it.
All right. Well, with that being said, I'm actually going to make a bold prediction. There will be a trade this week. Between this week and next week's episode, there is going to be a trade made. I don't know who. I don't know how significant. But there will be a trade between two eliminated teams. That's my bold prediction.
In between the two, the third and fourth round, you're saying, or
between now and our next episode?
Oh, the next week. Okay.
Yes. Usually is around the first week of June. You start seeing a trade or two trickle in. It'll be, I think, June 3rd when we come back and record again. Second.
Something about that.
Yeah. I kind of want to rescind that now because that seems pretty early.
Come on.
All right. For the sake of it, I'll keep the bold prediction. I kind of now wish I could push it back one more week, but fuck it. For the hell of it, I'll keep the bold prediction.
New rule. If you're wrong, we get to cut out one of your testicles. Still want to keep it?
Don't take away my masculinity.
It's a little hard.
That was a little excessive, Rick. I'm scared now.
Extreme.
All right, everyone.
All right,
with that being said, thank you all for tuning in to another fantastic episode of the Pucking Around podcast. As always, as Rick mentioned, if you like what you see, give us a sub, like us, leave a comment, any thoughts that you may have in conference finals, referee talk, holding these guys liable for potential retaliation penalties, or even your thoughts on the schedule and how the 1-8 seeding is. Give any thoughts. If you have something else you want to talk about just in general, leave a comment in general. Maybe some ideas you'd like for us to talk about next week's episode.
Anyway. So will you just wrap it up?
I'm trying to be a good host. But anyway, with that being said, that's going to wrap things up. We will see you next week, potentially with the beginning of the Stanley Cup Finals to talk about. But that'll do it, everyone. Take care. Have a great week, and go hockey, go.
Go Habs, go.
Promise that you'll catch me.